Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Stephanie from Lumeria Star, and today we are going to take a look at this new deck to my collection. This was graciously sent to me by the creator. This is the RWS. I don't know how to actually pronounce this. Basically, it's the RWS meets the TdM, or Tarot de Marseille. So basically, this is kind of like a hybrid deck, which is super intriguing to me. So this deck is an indie deck, and it's a small indie deck production of only 100 copies. So the creator let me know that basically the majors and the courts, they are Rider-Waite-Smith based, but they do have a bit of a more like grotesque vibe to them, but still have a Marseille-like touch. So I'm really curious what that's going to look like. I love the idea of kind of like a mashup deck. So the pips are kind of in the TdM or Marseille system, but the colors and the backgrounds are from the RWS, so they connect well with the majors and each other. So I'm just really intrigued. I haven't peeked at this deck yet, so we're going to explore it together. And this is by the creator. They are on Instagram at tarot_midnight. So that's their name on Instagram. So let's take a look at this deck. So it does feel like this is slightly smaller. Ooh, am I bumping this camera? I am. Okay. So the deck is probably, is this slightly smaller than tarot size? It might be. So we open up the box, RWS meets TdM. The inside of the box is a black color. All right. So let's see here. So already we have kind of like a cheat sheet card. So we have the minor arcana, the numbers and meaning, which this is a really nice kind of just like quick guide. And then the major arcanas with their keywords, which is really nice to have instead of like a fold out little white book. Like that's just so handy. So I do like that. These are the backs, this black and white checkered print. They're not gilded or edged or anything. So this is kind of like a title card. All right, so let's just get into the deck. So, all right, already we see here that this is based off the Rider-Waite-Smith, at least with the first card. Actually, where's the Fool? Are we missing the Fool? All right, I don't know. We're gonna find out because I haven't looked at this deck yet. So we're starting with the Magician. I do notice it's not numbered or anything, and it does kind of have like a slightly, maybe like grotesque look to it based off of their like facial expression. So that's interesting. Yeah, so the High Priestess does kind of have this kind of, I don't know, this look, this vibe. Really interesting. So also note that there are no numbers here and there's no titles. So that's something to keep in mind. We've got our Empress, our Emperor. And I do want to say the cardstock is actually nice. It's kind of got that silky matte finish. They do seem, they're not like super thick, so they are very flexible. They'll probably shuffle really nicely. All right, so we've got our Hierophant, the Lovers. This is a very interesting art style, like a different art take on the RWS. The Chariot, Justice, the Hermit, our Wheel of Fortune, Strength, the Hanged Man. It's an interesting death card, just like with the way the Death's head is kind of postured upwards. That's interesting. And the horse has got like red eyes. So I can definitely see just like a very subtle, like the creator mentioned, a very subtle, like grotesque take on it. It's just different. That's a cool devil card. I like that. Oop, skipped a card. The Tower, which is interesting. We don't see the people being thrown out of the tower, so that's interesting to note. the Star, the Moon, the Sun, Judgment, and the World. Yeah, so the facial expressions are definitely interesting to note. I don't want to say they're off-putting, but yeah, they are. They're just kind of, they're different. They're not what I expected. Oh, here's our Fool. He got mixed up. So that's our Fool card. So it definitely gives a different, slightly, like a different take or a slightly different energy. So that's something to note. Okay, so now we are in our minors. So I'm really curious to see, because so far the majors were all really Rider-Waite-Smith based. So I'm really curious what this is going to look like in the minor. So already Ace of Pentacles, that looks pretty Rider-Waite-Smith with Pixie's artwork. Okay, so I think I see what is happening here. So basically the minors are going to be more Pip style, but rather in the style of Marseille, we've got the like classic colors of Pixie's artwork. So that might be what this looks like. Yeah. So this would be a really great deck if you like reading Pips. So I wouldn't even necessarily say this is Marseille per se. Oh, that rhymed. Marseille per se. This to me just gives me more of a Pip style Rider-Waite-Smith so far. And yeah, even with the court card. So that's obviously very traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. These facial expressions are so interesting. It's like that like creepy vibe of like Tim Burton, but it's not Tim Burton style artwork. It's got this own vibe. That's really interesting. Okay, so now we are in our cup. So again, this one, the aces seem to be pretty Rider-Waite-Smith. And then it looks like the minors just kind of are a little more Pippish. So this would be I guess the Marseille component. But they are in the Rider-Waite-Smith color palette, which is, you know, pretty cool. So if you are a lover of the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith and you collect like clone decks, this would be a really fun deck to have in your collection. All right, so we've got our Page, our Knight, our Queen, and our King. Okay, so now we are going into our Suit of Swords. So it seems like the aces are pretty standard to RWS. And then we go into our Pippish minors. The only thing I would say I would like is, since they are Pippish, a number or a Roman numeral would be helpful for me, just because otherwise I'm gonna have to count them. So that's just something to keep in mind, at least for me and my reading style preferences. But I do like the use of color. So we have like the 9 and 10, which are a bit heavier cards. So we've got a black background that is interesting. And then, you know, maybe the less heavy energy cards have like a bluish background. So that's kind of cool. I just noticed that. Okay, so now we are in our quartz, all very RWS based, with that like creepy, grotesque, slight vibe. Like, wait, what is that? Oh, that's a tassel on her robe or cape. I thought that was like a cockroach for a second, so I wasn't sure if there was like creepy little details in here. That would have been kind of fun. And then our King. And then we are in our aces, or not aces, oh my gosh, our Ace of Wands. So this construction feels a little bit more Marseille, with the way the wands or batons are kind of structured. That definitely gives me Marseille vibes. Look at all those leaves on there. And then we've got our quartz. So this is a really interesting little like hybrid mashup deck. Let's see how this shuffles. So far overhand is nice. Let's see if we can riffle shuffle this on camera. And it is smaller than tarot size, so that feels nice in my hand. Really flexible, so that shuffles really nice in my hands. I've learned over the years I just prefer smaller decks just because they're just easier for me to handle. That's it. Oops, got cards slipping over. And the slight like silky matte finish makes them kind of glide really nicely. They're not like sticky and they're not too super slippery where like, I don't know, I know everyone loves linen cardstock, but I kind of struggle with it just because it's so slippery and I tend to just completely lose the cards. So this has enough slip to it, but it's not too slippy. All right, so let us just pull some cards and see what they look like. I will be honest, I do sometimes struggle with pip minors just because I am a very visual person and visual reader. So if I don't have a scenic depiction to kind of sink into, sometimes I have to like count the wands, count the pentacles, and that can be difficult. So let's just see what comes through right now and see how I feel about reading with it. Because I know other people just love pip decks, and yeah, I just prefer the scenic minors, but we will see how this feels for me. Okay, let's see what comes through. So we have got our Page of Cups, Knight of Cups. So clearly I didn't shuffle that great, and Three of Cups. Let's just kind of, so far that would be easy for me to read because I'm really familiar with this imagery and it's really easy to see Three Cups. Queen of Wands, that's really easy for me to read. And the Sun card. Okay, so these are all really easy for me to read. Let me try shuffling again because I'm just curious if I get a bunch of like swords and wands without a Roman numeral or a number, if that might take me a bit longer to read. Let's do another really good shuffle. That bridge feels really nice. Okay, so this one popped out. So like already I'd have to count. So it looks like 5 and 5, so 10 of Swords, which you can kind of tell with the black background that it's the energy is a little bit more darker, a little more ominous or heavy. Okay, so this I would also have to count. So that's 5 and 5. So we've got 2 10s, 10 of Pentacles. That's an easy one, Page of Wands. I'd have to count real quick. So that's 5 of Swords and Knight of Wands. So yeah, I think with the pips, that's going to be a learning curve for me, especially because there's no number. And maybe I could write the numbers on. Interesting. Let's just pull a couple more because this is kind of fun. What do you all think of this kind of hybrid mashup deck? So that's an easy one, 2 of Swords, easy one with Death, 3 of Swords, Justice. Okay, so those are easy too. I'm really curious to hear what you all think of this deck. So this is the RWS meets TdM deck, Tarot de Marseille. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's how I would pronounce it in my head. So this deck was sent to me by the creator over at tarot_midnight on Instagram. I'd love to hear what you all think of this deck. So please let me know in the comments below. And is this something that interests you? Is it something that you're not into? Or do you love the idea that it's kind of like a creative take on RWS meets Marseille? Let me know down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe. And then if you don't follow me in other places, I am also on Instagram at Lumeria Star. And I also have a Patreon under the same name, Lumeria Star, where I offer tarot spreads, journal prompts, tarot lessons weekly, all kinds of deck reviews, things like that. So Come join the fun in all of the places, and I will see you in the next video, everyone. Take care. Bye.